What's going on, everybody? Liam O'Reilly, Vermont Economic Realtor with Jerry Riley Real Estate. I hope you're doing well. Is right now the best time to purchase a home, or is this the best home buying opportunity that we are going to have in the next 5 years? Now, if you're in the market right now purchasing a home, I'm sure that thought sounds crazy to you. How can this be the best home buying opportunity? Prices are crazy. There's bidding wars. Interest rates are high. Affordability is low. I'm sure if you're looking to purchase a home right now, it's a stressful experience, and you're probably frustrated, and you might have been looking for a while. So how in that sort of environment can it be the best time to might it be the best time to purchase a home in the next 5 years? Now, what made me think about this was this Redfin article right here. Now, in this article, they're talking about how there are fewer homes sold in May than any other month they have on record, right? Transactions are way down, and this is something that's all over the headlines. I've talked about it on the channel. Everybody's talking about it. Transactions are way down. You can see here in this graph when they talk about, but what I wanted to bring up was where they talk about prices. Now they have their chief economist here, right here, saying it's too early to say that price declines have bottomed out. Prices may have room to fall because mortgage rates could still rise. The Federal Reserve just signaled it's likely to continue raising rates this year. You know, yeah, the federal. All right, so that's basically their main point. Why this made me think that okay, now now might be the best buying opportunity is, that is the chief economist of Redfin. That's his main point, is that rates could still rise and we could still see downward pressure through higher interest rates and lower affordability in the housing market. Now, you're going to have to make your own decision and try to figure out what is best for you. But personally speaking, I do not think rates are going to rise significantly. They might rise a little bit. We're sitting at about 6.5% right now. We've kind of been bouncing between 6.25 and 6.5% for the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 months here. And I think, maybe we see interest rates, mortgage rates up to 7 if the Federal Reserve continues to raise rates. But the bulk of their raising is done. I don't think we're going to see the Fed funds rate go from 5% up to 10%. We're not going to see mortgage rates go from 6% up to 11%. Mortgage rates are maybe they hit 7.5%. I think that's a stretch, but they might hit 7.5%. But pretty much we're settled into where rates are going to be basically within a percentage point or so. So, if the market has adjusted to these rates and people are starting to accept where rates are, then we're finding, in my opinion, I think we've found the floor for the overall housing market, at least in certain markets. Now, they mentioned in the article as well, and we'll go through it, that the housing market, there is no national housing market. So places like Austin and Boise, they're getting hit pretty hard, and they're seeing price declines of 10% or double-digit price declines. Where places like Vermont, where I'm at, we're seeing prices, median home prices, be flat or rise slightly year over year. We're seeing more of a normal growth trend as opposed to what we've seen over the past few years. So I'm gonna use the economist point to kind of spring or to highlight my point here. Uh, so Daryl Fairweather says here, right here, people think it's a bad time to buy a home because mortgage rates are high, but they should keep in mind that when rates do ultimately fall, many buyers are waiting on the sidelines could jump back in. And I personally think that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, when rates do eventually fall, that's going to do two things. It's going to bring more sellers to the market, but it's also going to bring a lot more buyers to the market. So, rates come down, affordability comes down as well, but more buyers come or affordability increases, right? Homes become more affordable because rates are cheaper, but that brings more buyers into the market, which is going to cause more bidding wars. It's going to cause prices to continue to rise, and then you're going to be looking back at this time, at the time that we're in now, where rates were high, thinking, man, I really should have bought when rates were high. I knew that rates are peaked or are near their peak. I should buy now because when they drop, things are going to become more affordable. More buyers are going to come into the market, and prices are going up. And I think 5 years from now, we're going to be looking back at this time, thinking, man, I should have bought now because rates are lower, prices are higher, and I really missed out on a decent opportunity. So that's really the basis of my argument is that yeah, inventory's tight, home sales are down, there's bidding wars still, unaffordability is low, but I think we're going to be looking back as far at the people that bought now, we're going to be looking back like the people that bought at the beginning of 2020, where prices were just starting to take off. People were paying what they thought back then to be astronomical prices, but with historically low interest rates. And now in 2023, we're looking back at those prices as being low, and we're looking back at those interest rates as being unbelievable. So I think we're going to have a similar situation in a few years here, as interest rates drop, and prices continue to rise steadily. Now, I don't know if they're going to completely take off, but I think they're going to rise steadily. Now, just because now is a good time to purchase a home, at least in my opinion, I guess let's talk about the flip side. Why might it be a bad time to purchase a home, right? If I think you have to decide for yourself. I mean, if the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates a lot higher, then we could see prices decline significantly, and you know then it's not going to be a great time to purchase a home, right? Then interest rates are way higher. The home prices where home prices are at now decline because affordability lowers. So in that scenario, it might not be. If you think that's what's going to happen, then you should probably hold off and not purchase a home right now. If we enter into a significant recession and we see high unemployment, which a lot of people think is going to happen, and we see rates drop because of that unemployment, right? If we experience economic hardship, I think the Federal Reserve is likely to lower rates to stimulate the economy. If we see that happen, I think with where inventory is, I don't think we're going to see a massive decline in prices, even if we see an uptick in unemployment, because we're so far below normal inventory and normal transactions in the housing market, at least normal in the terms of the past 10 years or so, that even if we experience unemployment and some buyers exit the market and the Federal Reserve drops rates and we don't see a huge influx of buyers, I think we could see relatively stable prices with lower interest rates. So prices remain where they are, but interest rates are lower and they don't rise. There's not crazy bidding wars like we think is going to happen because unemployment's up at 10% or so. Then in that case, assuming you can maintain your job and maintain your income, then if you think that scenario is going to happen, then you might want to wait. You might want to wait to see what happens. You might want to wait to see if unemployment rises, to see if rates drop, and then you can jump in and purchase a home. But like I said, I just purchased a home at the beginning of June. I am putting my money where my mouth is, and I think right now, I think we're going to look back at this time in 5 years or so and think, man, I wish I bought a property, or I wish I bought more properties then. Now, it's not going to be easy. It's a very difficult time to purchase a home right now, especially if you're not a cash buyer, especially if you're a first time home buyer that doesn't have a lot of money to play around with. As I was, it's very difficult to compete in these multiple offer situations and to look at these high prices, at least here in Vermont, and think, how am I supposed to pay that with the mortgage rate that I have now in other parts of the country, as they talk about in this article here. I'll scroll down here. Uh, Other parts of the country like Austin and Boise, let's see here, are not having the same challenges. Um, I'll leave the article in the description so you guys can see it. So Austin and Boise, the declines are much more significant. It's going to be a little bit easier to get into the housing market in those cities than it is in Vermont or some of the other parts of the country. But even in these difficult cities like Vermont, the difficult states, I still think it's worth getting into. And like I said, so it's going to be hard. I wanted to share this story of some buyers that I'm working with that just submitted an offer on a foreclosure. These are people who, they're not super wealthy people. They're not the rich mansion owner who is trying to buy up a bunch of different properties. But the situation is, it's this young couple who just had a kid and they're trying to get into this first property. They've been looking for a while. They just want a nice home to raise their family in rural Vermont. They grew up here. They're from the area. They want to buy a home in the area. They haven't been able to find anything. We finally found a foreclosure that is affordable. It's cheap and needs a ton of work. Is going to be a complete remodel, and they wouldn't qualify for financing. So they reached out to a family member and asked for asked for them to help with the purchase. And the family member said, "You know what? You've been working for so long that I've seen you struggle trying to find a home, and I'm willing to help you. I'll pay cash, so you don't have to worry about financing on this distressed property. We can fix it up together. We'll be able to make things work." That family member came in with cash on this foreclosed property, paid over asking price by about $10,000, and submitted a great offer, no contingencies, something that in a normal market would be accepted. What ended up happening was the property ended up getting 12 offers, all of them over asking, according to the listing agent, and the seller decided to go with another offer. It's just it, so I tell the story to say that if you're having difficulty, if you're having trouble in the housing market right now, you're not alone. A lot of people are in that same boat. It's very difficult out there, but just stick to it. Look for those opportunities. Try to find properties that don't have multiple offer situations. Try to be willing to take on a little bit of work, and if you do, you'll be able to find a property that works for you. It might not be your dream home, but you'll be able to get into something and get on the home ownership train if this is your first home, or even if you're not a first time home buyer but you're looking for another property. Just you don't have to have every box checked. Look for those opportunities. Try to avoid multiple offer situations. That's where you're going to find the best deals. So, Liam O'Reilly, Vermont Economic Realtor. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. I always love hearing from you folks. All my contact information is in the description. Feel free to reach out to me directly if you're looking to buy or sell a home here in Vermont. If you're looking in another state, reach out to me directly as well. I would be happy to help you find a great realtor who knows what they're doing. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.